Hi, welcome to Story Time with Gigi. Today we're going to be reading another story from our Disney Friendship Stories, The Treasury of Tales. Our story today comes from The Little Mermaid. Sebastian helps out. Beneath the sea, all the merfolk gathered at King Triton's royal palace for a concert. Sebastian the crab, the court composer, was excited for everyone to hear his new symphony. He gestured for the orchestra to begin playing. Everything went very smoothly until a large seashell opened. Ariel, the king's youngest daughter, was supposed to emerge from the shell and begin to sing. She had a lovely voice, and it was always a treat to hear her. But when the shell opened, it was empty. King Triton couldn't believe his daughter hadn't shown up. Sebastian couldn't believe it either. The court was ruined, or the concert was ruined. Ariel was busy exploring a sunken ship with her friend Flounder. She had completely forgotten about the concert. She finally remembered and swam straight home. King Triton was furious when he found out where she had been. He believed that humans were dangerous. "I am never to hear of you going to the surface again," he warned. Ariel swam off. King Triton turned to Sebastian. "Ariel needs constant supervision," he said, "and you are just the crab to do it." Sebastian was speechless. He didn't want to look after Ariel, but he couldn't refuse the king. He sank down in his shell, muttering to himself, "How do I get myself into these situations? I should be writing symphonies, not tagging along after some headstrong teenager." That day, Sebastian began keeping an eye on Ariel. He followed her and Flounder to her secret grotto. It was filled from floor to ceiling with human objects that she had collected from sunken ships. He hid and listened quietly as the young mermaid sang about her dream to be part of the human world. He was so shocked that he lost his footing and fell off a ledge. Ariel realized that he had been following her. "What is all this?" Sebastian exclaimed. "If your father knew about this place—" The mermaid begged Sebastian not to tell King Triton. But just then a ship sailing overhead caught her attention, and she began to swim toward it. "Ariel?" the crab called. Then he realized she was swimming toward the surface. "Jumpin' jellyfish!" he shouted. "Come back!" By the time Sebastian and Flounder reached the surface, a hurricane had begun and the ship was sinking. Ariel had rescued a human and was pulling him to shore. The human's name was Prince Eric, and the mermaid thought he was very handsome. He was everything she had ever dreamed about. Because the prince was unconscious, Ariel stayed by his side, even singing to him. But when she heard his servant coming, she dove into the water. She didn't want anyone to know she was a mermaid. She watched with Sebastian and Flounder as the prince awakened and returned to the palace with his servant. Sebastian knew that King Triton would be very angry if he found out what Ariel had done. "We're just going to forget this whole thing ever happened," he told Ariel and Flounder. But Ariel didn't stop thinking about Prince Eric. She couldn't. Sebastian tried to reason with her. "Will you get your head out of the clouds and back in the water where it belongs?" More than ever, Ariel wanted to be among humans. The crab couldn't seem to convince her that life under the sea was better than life in the surface world. Then by accident, he revealed to the king that Ariel was in love with a human. King Triton was furious. He went to see his daughter at once. "Have you completely lost your senses?" he bellowed. "He's a human. You're a mermaid." "I don't care," Ariel said defiantly. The king raised his trident and destroyed all of Ariel's human objects. After he left, Sebastian tried to apologize. "Just go away," the mermaid said, sobbing. Sebastian felt awful. Ariel's crying was cut short by the arrival of two wicked eels who worked for Ursula, the sea witch. They led the mermaid to their boss's cave. Sebastian and Flounder followed them. Ursula offered Ariel a deal. She would give her human legs in exchange for her voice. "I will make you a potion that will turn you into a human for 3 days," the sea witch said. "If the prince kisses you before the sun sets on the 3rd day, you'll remain human permanently. But if he doesn't, you'll turn back into a mermaid, and you'll belong to me." Ariel knew it was her only chance to get to know Prince Eric. Reluctantly, she signed her name to the contract. Moments later, Ursula had captured the mermaid's voice in a shell and transformed her tail into 2 human legs. Sebastian and Flounder rushed over to help Ariel. Now that she was human, she couldn't stay underwater for very long. When Ariel made it to the rocky shore, she was greeted by another one of her friends, Scuttle the seagull. Sebastian was beside himself. "This is a catastrophe! What would your father say?" "I'm going to march myself straight home right now and tell him." Ariel shook her head at him at once. She had no voice. "Don't you shake your head at me, young lady," said Sebastian. Then he smiled hopefully. "Maybe there's still time. If we could get that witch to give you back your voice, you could go home with all the normal fish and just be... The little mermaid looked at him pleadingly. Sebastian sighed. "Just be miserable for the rest of your life," he finished. He knew he couldn't turn his back on his friend. "All right, I'll try to help you find that prince." Ariel was so thrilled and relieved she gave the crab a kiss. "Boy, what a soft shell I'm turning out to be," Sebastian said. Scuttle located some rope and sailcloth with which to make a dress for Ariel. Before long, Prince Eric found Ariel. Although she couldn't speak, Eric was still enchanted by her. One afternoon, he took her for a boat ride in a lush lagoon. Sebastian helped create a romantic mood by getting the lagoon's creatures to sing and play music. But just as the prince was about to kiss Ariel, their rowboat tipped over. Ursula had sent her 2 eels to make sure Eric and Ariel didn't kiss. Through a magical glass ball, Ursula watched Ariel and Eric topple out of the boat. "Nice work, boys," she said to the eels. "That was a close one." But Ursula was still worried that the prince might kiss Ariel before sunset the next day. So she formulated a wicked plan. She would turn herself into a pretty young woman named Vanessa. Then she would use Ariel's voice, which was locked inside a shell around on a cord around her neck, to sound like the little mermaid and win Prince Eric's heart. That evening, Vanessa went ashore and sang to Prince Eric. He was captivated. She sounded just like the girl who had rescued him. When Vanessa put a spell on him, the prince insisted that they be married the very next day. Ariel was heartbroken when she heard the news, but there was nothing she could do. She had no idea that Vanessa was really Ursula in disguise. The next day, Ariel, Flounder, and Sebastian were sitting at the dock when Scuttle flew up. He explained that he had seen Vanessa looking in a mirror and her reflection had revealed that she was really Ursula. Ariel and her friends knew they had to stop the wedding. Sebastian cut a barrel loose and said to Flounder, "Get her to that boat as fast as your fins can carry you. I've got to get to the Sea King." He told Scuttle to stall the wedding, and Ariel hung onto the barrel as Flounder pulled it toward the ship. When she got there, Scuttle yanked the shell from Vanessa's neck and Ariel got her voice back and the spell on Eric was broken. But before they could kiss, the sun set and Ariel turned back into a mermaid. Vanessa transformed into Ursula and dragged the mermaid underwater. Prince Eric didn't want to lose Ariel, so he fought the sea witch in a fierce battle and won. Although Ursula had been defeated, Ariel was still a mermaid. She couldn't live in Prince Eric's world. King Triton saw how unhappy his daughter was. "She really does love him, doesn't she?" he said to Sebastian. The crab nodded. "Then I guess there's just one problem left," said King Triton. "What's that, Your Majesty?" asked Sebastian. "How much I'm going to miss her," King Triton explained. Then, with a flash of golden light from his trident, he gave Ariel human legs. Sebastian was truly happy for Ariel. He would miss her too, but he was sure they'd see each other again soon. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. Make sure you like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye until next time.